So you guys that are new to the channel might not know this, but that truck sounds way better than it used to. If you watch the C10 build, you know that it used to squeal really bad when you start the engine, and the engine just was loud. It made a lot of racket. I took it to my mechanic, he adjusted the valves, he did a lot of other stuff to make it easier to drive on a daily basis. We put a Holley fuel pressure regulator in there. That smoke that used to dump out of the back of this thing was too much fuel getting put into the car because we put a new fuel pump on there. It was just putting too much in there. So we fixed all of those things, and it is absolutely sorted now. So anyway, this car already sold on eBay, but it did come out really, really great. Today we're not working on that truck, we are working on this. Got my rev limiter set too low, so I'm gonna crank it up just a little bit, and then we'll do one more drive-by, and then we'll get to work. I'm having too much fun. For those of you that are new to the channel, this is my 1979 Toyota Corolla. We've been working on it for 7 episodes, or 8 episodes, I guess, which is 4 weeks. Oh, a month. We're coming up on a month. And we have just now got it running. Now, it's got a brand new Weber carburetor and an MSD 6AL2 ignition with 2-step. We got those done in the past 2 videos. Now that it runs pretty good, I'm gonna get back to making it look pretty good. So we've got a few more mechanical things we have to do, like brakes and just maintenance stuff. I'm gonna save that for the end. So there'll be kind of a final video getting everything ready and making everything work together. That's gonna happen on the last video or close to the last video. Right now, we gotta paint this thing. That's the next goal. And getting it ready is gonna be a massive, massive task. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is our budget build. We've been doing budget builds for the past 2 months now. The C10 at the beginning of this video was the first budget build. This is the second. We'll have one coming after this one as well. And they've been really fun to do. It's challenging me to keep this under a certain budget. It's challenging me to be like more creative with how I build and what I choose to put into the car. And it's just been really fun to show you guys that you can build really cool stuff for not that much money in terms of cars anyway. Now, if you're also new to the channel, then welcome to sweaty season. I live in Alabama, which is very, very far south in the US, and it's hot here. So about May till September, October, it's just like 90 degrees, 100% humidity, and very little breeze. We've got our last like breeze coming through. I say all that to say the next for the next 6 months, I'm just gonna be sweaty, and it's just how it is. One day we'll have air conditioning. All right. Okay, I want to do the work on this car outside because it's easier for me to see than in my shop. My shop's not very bright. I've got to get some lighting figured out. If any of you guys know about lighting and know how I could light my shop up completely, let me know in the comments below. But for now, we're going to have to work outside, but I don't want to be in the sun. So I'm going to try to find a shady spot to park this thing, and then we're going to go over the whole thing with sandpaper, find our problem spots, deal with them, and then we'll prime it. It's going to be a busy video. You'll notice that I removed the front fenders up here. I've got to do a lot more clearancing, and I'm changing my front end design a little bit to work better just driving around. My very first test drive, I ripped the fender off and bent my front fender, and it let me know I needed to clearance some more. So I've got plenty of material I can cut away, so that's not that big of a deal. But I also wanted to go with a different front fender, so I ordered another another set of front fenders, and they'll be in hopefully very soon. I asked them to rush them, so we'll see. But until those are in, we're just going to run without fenders. That'll help us kind of figure out all the clearancing issues and get it sorted, which we'll do out here in the shade, hopefully. Let me see if I can make a spot to work right here under this tree. So this is really great for me. It's nice and cool in here, but it's not so great for you guys. I'm going to see if I can find some hedge clippers and trim this up a little bit so that you guys can actually see me. If not, we'll just use this area to like get dents and find everything, and then we'll just go back inside. It looks, because of the camera, it looks like it's darker in here than it is in my shop, but it's actually a lot brighter. I mean, like a lot brighter. So we'll see if we can make it work. It's super comfortable. But if we can't, we'll just go back in after we find all the damage. All right, so no hedge clippers, which means this is gonna be a lot of close-ups, but I wanted to work in here. It feels really great outside underneath this tree. So I'm gonna work out here. I can see the body a lot better. I can see, like right now, scratches and dents and stuff that I've gotta take care of. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do that out here, and then we'll move it inside once I have kind of my bearings on the car. I may do a little bit of body work out here just for fun. the first thing that I do whenever I'm doing a car like this is I get a Sharpie out and I go around the entire car and circle any damage that I want to repair. So dents, scratches, things like that, rust. I circle it, I write words next to it or whatever so that I can see it really easily when I'm looking at the car. When you're doing an entire car like this, it can get really overwhelming and it's easy to miss stuff. So I'm gonna try to not miss anything, or at least miss very few things. That way when we do paint the car, it actually looks good. All right, so last night I was having some camera issues and I wasn't able to film as much as I would have liked to. But I'll catch you guys up on what we did last night and what we're gonna finish up this morning before we can get into actual body work on this car. So there was still a big rust spot. We covered that up with metal. We cut the rust out and put a new piece of rounded bent metal in there, and it worked out really well. We also deleted the windshield wiper hole for the rear window, so there's no more hole there. That was deleted with metal. We welded it up. We deleted the rear emblem holes as well, welded those up. We deleted there was some kind of screw hole in the A-pillar that we deleted, welded that up. We welded up the hole for the radio antenna. There were 3 holes for that. We welded all of those up. We welded up the holes for the driver's side mirror that was there. Now that we're using fender mirrors, we don't need that anymore. And we welded up a few mounting holes that I used to hold the fenders on and then decided to move the fender to a different spot. So it was a lot of welding. It was a lot of filling in and sanding, and it's all solid now. But we still have one more hole to do. It's on the passenger side where the old front bumper used to attach. So we're gonna weld that up and get it sealed. And then once that's done, I think we're pretty much ready for body work. Let's do it. So I learned the hard way that doing bodywork in the shop is not a good idea. Dust got everywhere. I've been cleaning it for like 4 days and it's still everywhere. So we're gonna take it in this stage and move it over to my paint booth and do the bodywork, do the Bondo, all that stuff. That way the dust is trapped in there and we can just blow it out whenever we're done. The front came out pretty good. I did a couple of touch-ups to get some bumps away, to straighten out some lines. I think it's gonna look really good. The back we haven't even touched yet. So we got a lot of Bondo to do and all the welding spots that we did last night, and just flattening everything out. We gotta get these dents out of the doors. That's what we're gonna be doing in there. Yeah, hopefully it'll go smooth and we can keep working. I'm trying to get this thing painted this week. I've got 3 days left, so hopefully we can make that happen. It's a huge, huge job. If not, we'll paint it early next week. All right, let's do it. There's like a door bar inside of the door right here. I was hopeful that I would just be able to push the door dent out. I'm guessing the reason this hasn't been fixed is because of that support, which is a cool safety feature, but it's gonna make this job a lot harder. All right, so I marked my dents out, and I'm gonna attempt first to make a dent puller. Now, basically what that is something that we can attach to the car and pull the dents out with like a slide hammer. I think I have the stuff to make kind of a crude version of that. We're gonna try that first. If that doesn't work, we can replace this metal. What's happened is there is a door bar right here, which is a great safety measure. I would not have thought that was there. But it's a pretty stout bar right behind this door line on, I'm guessing, both doors. And when the car was hit, the door bar stopped the metal. But what that is, it creased the metal right here where this line is. And it put a pretty serious dent in it that's not going to want to pop out. Normally, if you got a dent in your door, you can get behind it with a hammer and hit it really hard, and the metal will a lot of times pop back out, at least to a close shape of what it resembled before. This is not the case. So what we're going to do is we'll grind all this off, we'll make our dent puller, and hopefully we can pull these dents out rather than having to put in another patch panel. I don't want to do that. That's kind of overkill. But I really, this is evidence, this car has been evidence that I need to buy a legitimate dent puller. They're kind of expensive, but I think it's time. So we may do that for the next project. But until then, I'm going to see if I can make one up with some stuff that I have here in the shop. Alright, so here's what we're going to try first. The tool you would use for this is a stud welder. Well, it's a stud under there. You put a special slide hammer on it, pull the dent out. I don't have one of those, but I do have an actual welder, and I've got some screws, and I've got my favorite tool in the world, which is a tool that I built that I use for removing stuck CV axles. If you haven't seen that video, it's one I did a long time ago. I've had this tool for several years now, and man, it is such a good tool. It's been so good to me. I've gotten several stuck CV axles out with it, and we're going to try to use it to pull this dent out. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, I do have backup plans. Now, I would normally, I say before I started welding, which is like a couple of months ago, I would use fiberglass to fix this kind of situation. It's not the right way to do it if you ask the internet, but it works. So you can do that. I don't really think there's a right way to do body work. There's ways that are better, there's ways that are worse. I think the best thing to do is what you can. I think what we can do this time is use a welder to make a stud puller. I don't know. Let's find out. Here's a little trick that helps me when I work on cars. You'll notice, I don't know when the camera cut off, but I went ahead and sanded this whole door with 220, so this door is ready for primer. I know this might be hard to believe, but I don't enjoy sanding. I really, really hate it. But I love painting. It's kind of a necessary evil. And when I look at a project like this, like when I was getting ready to come out here today, and then even tonight, I'm sanding at night right now, I get kind of anxious and just really don't want to sand an entire car. I mean, going over every inch of a car with sandpaper is just time-consuming and mind-numbing. And what I do that helps me kind of get through it is compartmentalize. So I had to sand this. While I was sanding that, I went ahead and sanded the entire door. We're going to do the same thing here. Everywhere there's Bondo, I'm going to go ahead and sand the whole panel that Bondo is connected to, basically. Breaks the car up into smaller jobs rather than just being this one massive job, and makes it a little bit easier for your brain to handle, or for my brain to handle anyway. So we're gonna move to this passenger door now. These two spots are huge. I mean, it's gonna be very noticeable if they're not flat. They may not be perfectly flat, but they'll be a lot better. I mean, they feel way better. So our little dent puller thing worked, which is, it's just amazing. They're feeling a lot better, but it's a lot of sanding, a lot of blending, a lot of blocking to get them to a smooth state. And Lowe's is out of sandpaper, so all I've got is 220. So I went to go get some like 120, which is what I normally do this kind of Bondo work with, and it's gone, all of it. So so we're doing it all with 220, which is taking some time, but it feels really good, so that's cool. You know, it's ready for primer. I've got to Bondo a couple more spots, but anyway, I'll quit talking now. I'm gonna sand some more. You can join me. And with that, the car is sanded. I'm not sure how much I caught of that. My camera's still giving me issues. I got a new one on the way though. That's pretty exciting. It's late. It's like 1 a.m. I think. I'm gonna stop here. I've still got to do the door jambs for the driver, front and rear, and under the hood. But I'm just tired, so I'm gonna stop. The black paint gave me a lot harder time than I thought it would. Anyway, the whole car's sanded with 220, which is great. The primer will have no problem filling in those scratches. So we'll come back tomorrow, finish sanding the parts that I just am not gonna get to tonight under the hood and the real kind of tedious stuff. Tape it off, and then we'll spray the whole thing with a primer surfacer, which is that gray stuff that's on the hood behind me. When that's sprayed, then we'll get to sand it all. We'll block the whole thing with 400 or 320. I think 400 is what the data sheet calls for. And then we got a blank canvas ready to paint. It is a massive job painting a car. It's just a massive job. No amount of time lapse could ever takes a long time. The brain's not really working. It's just a huge job, but it is a rewarding one when it's over, and my favorite part is coming up and coming up quick. So once this thing's primed, I will be much more excited than I am right now, and once I've slept a little bit. So I guess we will cut to tomorrow when I sand some more. That took forever. It's 11 p.m. tonight. It took me about 4.5, 5 hours to tape the car up. Had to stop to go take care of my boys, and they're asleep now. So we're gonna try to get this thing primed, and I hope that they don't wake up while we're in the middle of priming. I just checked on them. I think they're good. Taping up these door jambs was insanely hard. It always is, but there's 4 of them, so I'm not used to that, but I think it's worth it. You open your doors a lot when you drive your car, and I think it's worth it for it to match. But what we're gonna do next is spray it with a surface primer, or surfacing primer. It's a thick build primer. That'll give us plenty to block down to help us get the best chance of having a flat car, or a mostly flat car. I don't know how my door repairs are gonna turn out. I think I'm gonna have some high and low spots there still. I didn't really work on them that hard. They'll look better, but we'll see what it looks like with paint. But the primer surfacer is gonna help us kind of flatten out what we can. And then yeah, then we just paint it, and it should look pretty good. I think it's gonna look all right. So anyway, I guess it's time to finally spray primer, and then we can finish this video. This has been such a long video. I don't know if it's been long for you guys, but man, it's been long for me. Lots and lots of hours. All right, let's spray. Oh.
In your feelings. I've been all in them trenches. Know they notice me flexing.
All right, there we go. This thing is primed and it looks awesome. There's definitely some bodyworking issues that I wish I was better at bodywork, but you know, it is what it is. I may go back and touch those up again after I get the whole thing painted. I kind of like to do cars in stages, so I'll do like the stage 1 and then live with that for a little while and decide if I want to make changes and things like that. I did that with the MR2 and it just works for me. So we're gonna keep moving with this, even though I know there's some bodywork issues. I know it's gonna bother some of y'all. It's okay, it'll be fine. We're gonna paint it, it's gonna look awesome. But I had to move it out of the paint booth because we have another project that needs to go in there. It's coming up on Tuesday, so make sure you check back Tuesday to see the new project we do. It's just gonna be a one-day project, and then we'll jump back into the Corolla at the end of next week, hopefully it'll be painted. This was a massive undertaking for 1 week. It did take me a full week. That's why this video is out on Sunday. But I'm really glad that we're to this stage. We did the door jambs, we got under the hood, we did in the, what's it called? Under the hatch. It's ready to go and it's ready to be painted. So we'll block this whole thing down with 400 grit. That'll take some of the splotchiness out that you see, get it all real flat and even, and then we are ready for paint. Now the color is a secret, so if you want to see what the color is, you have to tune in next week, at the end of next week, for the Corolla build, and you can see what it's going to be. I'm very excited about it. It's a very 70s color. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's a very 70s color. It's going to fit this car really well. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's super bright outside, so I can't even really see the camera. But it's a beautiful day to work on cars, so that's what we're gonna do. I hope you guys are enjoying this build. I got some new parts for it today, which I'm really excited to put on. We'll do that after paint. And we've got, the list is very short for finishing this thing. I know it looks like a wreck right now, but everything else that goes on here is inside the house. You'll notice the front lip is gone. We're doing something different with that. I changed my mind altogether. So we'll be doing something different with that after it's painted. But even though it looks very far gone, it's actually very close to being done, and I'm super excited. I've got to decide what I'm going to do with this thing when all is said and done. The secret word of the week is going to be, the secret word of the week is going to be 5. The number 5, you can type it out or just hit that number. I don't know if that's going to make sense for the next video, but you might get it later on. 5 is the number of the week. So comment that below to let me know that you made it through the entire video, that you watched the whole thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are loving this build as much as I am. I am falling in love with this car. I'm so excited to drive it. I cannot wait to drive this thing. It's gonna be so fun. All right, I will see you guys in the next one.
I've been all in them trenches. Know they notice me flexing. All of my fitness.